and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be names that my husband and I considered naming our twin girls. These are all names that we absolutely loved, and they were all considered with the naming of these little ones, but ultimately we went another route with these names, and our daughters officially have names, so that's pretty exciting. And we are now calling them by their names, and it seems so surreal that these little girls have names behind their little personalities in the womb, which is beyond me, and it just makes it more real that these little girls are going to be here within the next couple of months. So yeah, all the names on the list are names that my husband and I both love, and I'm super excited to be sharing with you guys, give you guys some inspiration and ideas on what to name your little ones. So the first name on the list is a name that I loved, and I've loved this name for a couple of years now, and it went back to naming Ava, and it's the name Eleanor, and I loved how sweet and simple it was, and I love that I can call her Ellie or Elle for short, and that was a huge factor for my husband. He wanted a name that we can either have meaning or a name that we can give him a nickname to go along with the name, their original name. So Eleanor was always on our list, and Eleanor honestly isn't off the list for future kids. It's just not the name that we went with these little girls. The next name is a name that I personally love. My husband was not too fond of it, but it's the name Rena, and I know a lot of people are gonna say, oh, that's what Kourtney Kardashian named her son, and honestly I didn't even think to even look at Kourtney Kardashian, to be quite honest. I just liked the name and I wrote it on the list, and my husband was like, I don't know. So it was on our list, and ultimately we didn't go with it. So this name is a name that my husband picked out, and he picked this name out October of 2017. We were in our living room. I remember this because it was like a light bulb moment. We were sitting down in the living room. I think we were watching Supernatural at the time, and we got onto the conversation or the topic of baby girl names, and he was like, well, what about this name? And I'm like, you know what, I actually really like that name, surprisingly. Like, I never thought that I can like a name so quick and fast, and a name that my husband picked out just like that. But the name is Isla, and he told me that Isla was a character off of Star Wars, and I was like, but the name grew on me, and this was a name that was a huge consideration in naming our twins, because we thought we were going with one route, but we ended up going with another. So this name was set in stone from October of 2017 up until recently, and it was the name that ultimately went with. So the name Ayla is a name that my husband ultimately picked out, and a name that I ultimately fell in love with, but we didn't use. So this next name actually hit me in my face. No, I'm just kidding. This next name came to me while my mother was here. We were in a drive-through waiting for our subs to get done. Like, we tried out this new sub place, and I was kind of staring off into the streets, and I was like, Mom, what about the name Rowan? And she was all like, Rowan, really? I'm like, yeah, Rowan. And she's like, I never met a girl named Rowan. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point. I love names that are boy names, but people use them as girl names. And the name Rowan came to me. I brought it to my husband, and I just told him I really, really like this name. And he put it down for the consideration. So the name Rowan was definitely on our list. So this next name is a name Hazel, and it's a name that my husband picked out. I was in bed. I think he was in the bathroom, and I think he was shaving, and he had his phone on the counter. He was just going through baby names as he was shaving, and he said, what about the name Hazel? And I'm like, you know what? Why not? Like, it's simple, and it's sweet, and it's precious, and it was simple. And I know I said that before, but the simplicity of the name Hazel honestly got my attention. I personally don't know a lot of Hazels out there, or little kids named Hazel. So the next name is the name Scarlet. It's a name that my husband fought so hard for, and I wasn't opposed to the name Scarlet because we could name for like a nickname, we could name her Scar, but you know, it just wasn't a name that we ultimately went with. But Scarlet is honestly not a bad name, and I have a friend's daughter whose name is Scarlet.
Mommy.
Yes.
I don't do that.
Mommy's trying to film a video. What are you doing? Oh my god. But what are you doing?
I don't do.
You gonna eat some papa soon? Close the door. Close the door. Go see Dad. Oh. I'm just trying to film this video. Oh my god.
You were talking to you.
No, hey, Baba. Go downstairs with Dada. Go ahead. I'll be right down, okay? He said, okay, mommy. Okay, guys. So this next name is a name that I personally absolutely love, and I love old-fashioned names. So this name is the name Evangeline, and I've loved this name for quite some time. My mother would watch old Western movies, and I remember this one character's name was Evangeline. And I remember watching the whole video through just to see the casting and the credits, just so I can write it down when I was like a kid, so I can name like one of my Sims that when I was playing The Sims. And I wanted to make sure I spelled the name right. But Evangeline was a really sweet and old-fashioned name that I loved, and that was on my list and I fought so hard for, but it ultimately did not work out. So the next name is a name that both my husband and I both love, and it's the name Nora. And it, like I said again, it was short and simple and it was sweet. And I haven't met a lot of Noras out there in the world, and I love the name. I love the fact that it was 4 letters and it was just simple and it had meaning. My husband gave me the meaning before, and I will try to be sure to write it on the screen somewhere, the meaning of the name Nora. But I love the name Nora, and so did he. So this next name is a name that's been around when I was picking out names for Ava, and it was short and simple. And simple again was really was the route that we were going with when picking out a little girl name. I didn't want some crazy name, but the name Ruth was on the list along with Ava, and Ava's name actually won, so the name Ruth was on this list as well. And of course it lost again, but I'm okay with that. So the next name and the final name that's on my list is the name Isla, and it's spelled I-S-A, and that's the way I wanted to spell it. Very simple and sweet. And this name is actually getting really popular around and like all the baby vlogs and the baby name vlogs. But people are spelling it all extravagant, and it's pretty much taken away the meaning and the sound of the name. But Isla was a name that I had picked out. My husband liked it too, and we honestly thought about it for being a middle name, but we went another route with that one as well. So Isla was one of the names. And for a bonus name, I'm going to go ahead and throw this one out here because this is a name that we weren't really too sure about, but it's still on our list. And it's the name Ivy. And no, not like Blue Ivy or anything like that. It was just the fact that when my husband typed up 3-letter names, Ivy was one of them, and it had a little bit of a meaning behind it. Again, I don't remember because it was so long ago, but Ivy is one of the names that were on our list. And I met one other Ivy that I was not too fond of, and I'm like, I really don't want to name my kid after somebody that I wasn't fond of. So yeah, that name didn't work out, but that was one of the names that were on our list. Okay guys, so yeah, that was pretty much the names that my husband and I considered naming our twins. This list was a lot longer, but we honestly had to narrow it down, and we are both obsessed and in love with our twins' names now, and of course the middle names. So calling them by their first and middle names just makes this whole thing just so much real. And you know, I can call baby A by her name, baby B by her name. So that is also, you know, something really special for me. I honestly didn't think we would get to this point just because my husband is so picky and I'm so picky, and names just don't come as easily as I thought. And when you have 2 parents that want certain names for their kids, it was just ultimately just hard. Yeah, hopefully you guys got some type of inspiration from this video, or at least I hope you got some type of inspiration from this video, and hopefully the name picking process isn't as hard as it was for my husband and I, but you guys will get there, hopefully. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I will see you guys on my next one. Bye guys.